I find it very interesting, my reaction after reading this chapter. I don't know why I feel this way that I do right now and why the tears are streaming. I mean, I think most of you have seen my reviews, and for the most part, I felt about Obito. Even so, with feeling bad for him, what I've been saying for the past few weeks, I didn't expect for me to get this reaction right here, and this is why Naruto manga is fucking awesome. If you haven't read this chapter or you plan on rereading this chapter, I definitely recommend you should listen to Naruto Shippuden Ending 28. If you can get your hands on the full version, go with that. If you could just get the TV version, please do yourself a service and listen to that ending while you read this chapter. It makes it that much better because that is probably, and I've said this to many different people, and I know you're probably thinking it's so strange that I'm like recommending an ending or something, but that is the best depiction of Obito Uchiha's tragic life in the best way possible. And I think that you listening to that, and if you know the visuals as well, then you'll definitely get a very interesting feeling from reading this chapter. Now, I'm not going to sit up here and, we all know there's no need to pretend that Obito Uchiha is the most amazing character, or that, to a certain degree, he's, like, forgiven for everything he's done. If we look at it in the real world, at the end of the day, he just killed Neji probably a few hours ago, and ultimately he's done terrible things. He's done fucked up things up until just recently. So in that regard, us as people in the real world, we don't look at forgiveness that easy. Like, this is obviously manga, so it's a little bit different, where regardless of what they see, what the person's been through and all the trickery that's happened to them, and ultimately this chapter, it almost feels as though you're getting multiple different viewpoints of Obito Uchiha's death. You're getting the people that absolutely hate him. You're getting that aspect with what Kaguya, or shall I say Black Zetsu, the fucking mouthpiece, continuously says. He's trash, he's gonna die, he was worthless, he's aimless, he has no goal, he's a failure at everything, he's just a filthy traitor, and was just absolutely tearing him down. So you get that aspect of what real world people would be looking at him like, he's scum. But then you get the also, the other aspect of it as well, where Kakashi's there in pain, and I feel so bad for Kakashi right now out of everyone, because while Naruto's feeling sad, just imagine how Kakashi is feeling right now. That was his friend, going back to when he was a child. That was the source of all of his agony for a majority of his life. This guy's death, his return, the confusion and everything, and having to see his friend die again. That must be the most terrible pain you could possibly go through. I will say though that I think it would have been a little bit more appropriate if he would have give Kakashi one of his eyes again, but I guess Kishimoto didn't want to go that route. Maybe he felt it would have been a little bit too cliche or something, or maybe the eyes weren't even good at this point, because as you can see, his body was damaged beyond repair. And that's interesting to note. Naruto's healing abilities do have a certain limit to them. They're not completely, if the person is beyond the limits of repair, such as Obito was, there's no return, and his powers aren't that good. So even the Naruto Jesus has its limits. And this is one of the things that I've been really liking about Sasuke in this arc, and as a character, and I think that this serves his character so well, where even during all this shit is going on, you can see that to a certain degree Sasuke understands that he feels bad for Obito, and this is a guy that was tricked by him in a way. So I respect that he can kind of understand, but he's basically telling him, yo, there's nothing more you can do for him. We got to do this right now. And he takes charge and goes after Kaguya. And that's the shit that I really like about Sasuke right now. And I think that that's really adding to his character a lot at the moment, where regardless of what is happening, you're the threat, you're the target, I'm taking you the fuck out, there's no time for nothing. And that's what's making him such a great fucking addition to Naruto's character, because I think they balance themselves so well, as far as they're almost like, again, Hashirama Madara, if you remember the flashbacks. It's like they would serve perfectly as duo leaders of some sort for a village, because with Naruto being more passive and more, heartfelt, and Sasuke being just on target, on the mark, he's intelligent enough to understand when things is going this emotional situation. Maybe he might not feel it much, because again, he's like, who the fuck is Obito? It doesn't really serve his sort of life or whatever. But ultimately, I think he's wise enough to understand that, and I think that makes a great combo. If they ever did do some sort of Hokage thing, maybe they could be duo Hokages, if anything. And I find it pretty hilarious that Sasuke said, hey, give me a hand, and then later in the chapter, he gives him Kaguya's arm. Pretty fucking clever. I will say one of the things about the chapter that I did not like, and I did think that it was a bit too much, was, and it depends on what translation you read, by the way, and there's two different translations I've seen of what Naruto says regarding Obito after his death, and what basically, while Black Zetsu is antagonizing him, he basically says, I can't see Obito Uchiha as anything but awesome, and then another one he says he's the coolest ever. I'm gonna go with anything but awesome, because I don't think Naruto would say he's the coolest ever. If anything, his teacher, his sensei, Jiraiya, or even Kakashi for that matter, is the coolest. So I'm gonna go with awesome. I feel it fits it better, which still nonetheless, like, regardless of what, regardless of anything, he just killed your friend. He's the reason why your life has been pretty much shitty, all of it, with your parents' death and many different things. I think that that was too much, and that shows that Naruto is just a bit too over the top with the forgiving in every aspect. To say that this guy is nothing but awesome, maybe that's going, no, it's definitely going too far regarding just how much of forgiveness you can do in such a short amount of time. Like, anybody in the situation, especially with Neji just dying, would not feel that this guy is anything but awesome. Maybe you could say something like, shut the fuck up, you don't know anything about Obito, or at the end of the day, something differently would have fit better than he's awesome, or he's the coolest ever, or something like that. And with the thing in the end, with him finally being reunited with Rin, for the most part, I saw it as symbolic, and I don't think at this point he's looking at anything as a romantic relationship. It's finally, he gets to be reunited with a comrade, and after all this time, I like in the other translation, because there was two translations again, and in one of them, they kind of focus more on that Rin knew everything that's been happening, and it's like, you know, you tried your hardest. I really want to go with that one, because I felt that that is far more appropriate, that the thing that he's been wanting all this time, for Rin to accept him and ultimately finally be reunited with him. She doesn't look down on him. She's not, like, judgmental, and I felt overall this was a very fitting, like, for a character that to a certain point we all just kind of looked at him like, fuck you, you're a pig, you're worthless, to kind of have such a great turnaround to the point where, again, I have this reaction. I don't know if anybody else is going to have this reaction, but I definitely felt that was a great turnaround. It doesn't excuse everything Obito's done. It doesn't make him a great character. It doesn't make him the greatest thing of all time. And to a certain degree, I'm still like, why are you calling him Awesome Naruto? But it's still a good change, and nonetheless, I think Kishimoto did it appropriately in the end, with how he changed the character to, at the very least, make us sympathetic towards him. And overall, I gotta say, this was a fitting ending for Obito Uchiha. We also got good progression in this one. Kaguya got her arm taken by Naruto, and things is moving. The death of Obito Uchiha, love him or hate him, but at the end of the day, I think at the end, that was a great turnaround for a character that one of the most infamous characters in probably manga history, for the reactions that people have had ever since his revelation. But let me know what you guys think on a serious note. How did you feel regarding this death? Did you feel any emotion towards it? Did this change, even if, you know, in the slightest, your outlook on Obito Uchiha with him having this sort of death and the way it went down? Do you feel that it added to the character? It slightly changed your opinion on him, your view on him? And just your overall thoughts of this. Do you just, like, say, whatever, fuck it, I'm glad he's out the way? I honestly am surprised at how much this chapter made me feel for the character. I felt bad for him, but I didn't think that I would get to the point where how I started this video. So yeah, overall, very fitting ending, and I'm glad Obito finally got some redemption. But that's all I have for this review. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you liked anything I had to say or enjoyed the video, drop me a like. I'd greatly appreciate it. And if you haven't subscribed, you can do so as well. That'd be awesome. I'm ForneverWorld, and as always, people, have an awesome day. Sayonara, Obito Uchiha.